Welcome to a webcast produced by the Learning Enhancement team based in the Dean of Students office at the University of East Anglia. This webcast is part of the Steps into Numeracy series and concerns adding and subtracting fractions. This guide helps you understand how to add and subtract fractions. It also introduces the important idea of a common denominator. Introduction. If you have 6 apples and 7 oranges, when you add them together, you still have 6 apples and 7 oranges, but this gives you a total number of 13 pieces of fruit. Only when you identify apples and oranges as fruit, i.e. what they have in common, can you add them together. This idea of only being able to meaningfully add and or subtract things which are the same, or have been expressed in terms of something they share, is extremely common in science and mathematics and is crucial to understanding how to add and or subtract fractions. The denominator of a fraction identifies the type of fraction you have, whilst the numerator gives the number of that type of fraction. See study guide, Types of Fractions. When you are adding and or subtracting fractions, the denominators need to be the same. Fractions only add or subtract meaningfully when this is the case. The fractions you need to add and or subtract may not have identical denominators. If this is the case, you will have to change your denominators using equivalent fractions. Common denominators. If you are given the sum 1/2 plus 1/3, you may be tempted to add the denominators and the numerator together to get 1 plus 1 over 2 plus 3, which equals 2 over 5. This is a very common mistake. As 1/2 and 1/3 have different denominators, they are different types of fractions. You need to find a common denominator before adding them. Expressing the fractions as equivalent fractions with the same denominator allows you to do the sum. A suitable common denominator is any number which has the denominators of the fractions in question as factors. In every calculation, there are many potential common denominators that you can choose. The easiest way to find a common denominator is to multiply together the denominators of the fractions. The resulting number is always a suitable common denominator. Another way is to find the lowest common multiple, or LCM, of the denominators. See study guide, Lowest Common Multiple. The advantage of finding the LCM is that it is the smallest common denominator, making conversion to equivalent fractions easier. Also, you may not have to cancel down your answer. Let's return to the problem of 1/2 plus 1/3. Multiplying the denominators gives 2 multiplied by 3, which equals 6, which in this case is also the lowest common multiple of 2 and 3. You now have to express 1/2 and 1/3 as equivalent fractions with a denominator of 6. Start with a half. When finding equivalent fractions, you must multiply the denominator and the numerator by the same number. In order to change the denominator from 2 in the half to 6, you must multiply by 3. So you must also multiply the numerator by 3. The numerator in a half is 1. So multiplying by 3 gives 1 multiplied by 3, which equals 3. So 1/2 is converted to 3/6. As you can see, 1/2 can be expressed as the equivalent fraction 3/6. You now need to do the same for the third. In order to change the denominator of 3 in the third into 6, you must multiply by 2. The numerator in a third must also be multiplied by 2 to give 1 multiplied by 2 equals 2. So 1/3 can be written as an equivalent fraction of 2/6. By expressing the fractions as equivalent fractions with a common denominator of 6, you can now add them together. So, 1/2 plus 1/3 equals 3/6 plus 2/6, written as equivalent fractions, which equals 3 plus 2 over 6, which equals 5 over 6. Or, in words, 3/6 plus 2/6 is 5/6. The type of fraction, sixths, remains the same in the answer, and you add the numerators to find out how many you have. The method for subtracting fractions is similar. Adding and/or subtracting fractions. 1. Find a common denominator. 2. Express all the fractions involved as equivalent fractions with this common denominator. 3. Add or subtract the numerators as required, but keep your common denominator. For example, calculate 2/5 minus 1/4. A common denominator is 5 multiplied by 4 equals 20, which is also the lowest common multiple. Expressing as equivalent fractions with the denominator of 20 gives 2/5 has to be multiplied by 4 on the top and bottom, which equals 8 over 20. For 1/4, you need to multiply the numerator and denominator by 5, which equals 5 over 20. So the subtraction becomes 2/5 minus 1/4 equals 8 over 20 minus 5 over 20, which equals 8 minus 5 over 20, which equals 3 over 20. Or, in words, 2/5 take away 1/4 is 3/20. For example, calculate 3/10 plus 2/5 minus 1/2. Here, if you multiply the denominators together, you get 10 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 2, which equals 100. The required equivalent fractions can be found by multiplying the numerators and denominators by 10, 20 and 50 respectively. So the calculation can be performed as follows. 3/10 plus 2/5 minus 1/2 equals 30 over 100 plus 40 over 100 minus 50 over 100. This equals 30 plus 40 minus 50 over 100, which equals 20 over 100, with the final result, 1/5, being achieved by cancelling down. You may also notice that 10 is the lowest common multiple of 2, 5 and 10. Using 10 as the denominator simplifies the calculation. 3/10 plus 2/5 minus 1/2 equals 3/10 plus 4/10 minus 5/10, which equals 3 plus 4 minus 5 over 10, which equals 2/10, but still gives the same result, 1/5, after cancelling down. Further guidance and information. If you have any further questions about numeracy or would like to discuss any other aspects of mathematics, you can talk to your lecturer or personal advisor or make an appointment to see a learning enhancement tutor in the Dean of Students office. You can telephone 01603 592761, email dos.help@uea.ac.uk, or visit our website at www.uea.ac.uk/dos/let. There are further resources on many other aspects of numeracy, mathematics, statistics and science available from the Dean of Students office and on its website. These include questions to practice, model solutions, and webcasts illustrating essential skills. This guidance is one of a series on mathematics produced by the Dean of Students Office at the University of East Anglia.